let's get going. So I'm just going to quickly go through these slides, just reminding you. So of course, you know GoGo for rides and meals, groceries, medication delivery, and home services. And there's just one phone number you need to call to access all of these things. So just a reminder, that's 855-464-6872. And then let's get into our strength training class. So does anybody remember the move of the week? Oh, I guess we don't have that on there anymore. For some reason, if you're raising your hand, I'm missing you. You can just unmute yourself, shout it out, or put it in the chat. Anyone remember the functional fitness move of the week?
No.
I think Bertha, is your hand up, Bertha? Yes, you're muted
Yes.
though. Oh.
Yes. I don't know, was it chair squats?
Yes, wow, good memory.
Sure.
Yeah. Remember, so last week for functional fitness, we talked about all the different ways you can get in and out of a chair and thinking about how you do it. So that's correct. Nice work. So we'll get a new move of the week. It's our little memory game of who can remember. I also have to think about it. So anyway.
Edra, I have a question. I saw in an article something related to this chair squat where they asked the person to cross the arms, holding the shoulders and trying to get up in that position. Do you have any comments about that?
Yeah, you know what, Bertha? Let's address that in our class today. So I will totally answer that, and I'll answer it pretty early on in the class of we'll experiment with it. So we'll experiment with crossing our arms and using our chair and just different ways to get up. And then I'll explain as we go. That's a great question. All right, so today all you need is a chair. I like to have a set of weights. You don't have to have weights though. I would say anywhere from 3 to 4 pounds is great. You could also grab water bottles. You could grab cans or nothing at all and just use resistance through the air, you know, just squeezing your fists and using resistance. So let's get going. Oh, nice. Nice to see all your faces. Once I stop sharing, I can see all of you, and that makes me happy. Let's go ahead and find a nice standing position. Let's do some big shoulder rolls back. If you don't see me, you're going to want to go to the top right-hand corner of your computers on the top right-hand corner, and you can change the view to either be speaker. That way you would see me, or if you want to see everybody, you can go to gallery view. Big shoulder rolls the other way. And then relax those shoulders. Inhale, sweep those arms out to the side and then up towards the ceiling, reaching tall. And then exhale, lower those arms back down. Let's do that again. Inhale, arms circle out and up. And exhale, arms lower down. One more time. Inhale, arms circle out and up. And exhale, arms lower down. Let's warm up our spine. I'm just turning sideways so you can see. You don't need to turn. We'll open the arms out to the side. Lift the chest, push your tail back. So we're really opening the front of the body. And then exhale, round your back and give yourself a hug. Wrap your arms around yourself. Inhale as you circle those arms out to the side. Lift the chest, tail goes back. Stretch the front of the body. And then exhale, round. Stretch your back body, tucking your tail. Wrap your arms around yourself. One more time. Inhale, open the chest. And then exhale, round, give yourself a hug. And then come back to center, release those arms, straighten out those legs, and begin to bend side to side. So stretching your side body here. So we're warming up the spine, warming up the waist. And then making your way back to center. Bring your fingertips to your shoulders and bend your knees a little bit. If you can't bring your fingers to the shoulders, arms can stay down. Small bend in those knees. We're going to twist just the upper body. So rotate the spine, keep the lower body still, and try and twist just the upper half of the body. And then coming back to center, release those arms. Let's do just a few air squats to warm us up before we go into the chair squats. We're gonna bend those knees, hips go back, arms can reach forward, and then straighten those legs, lower the arms. Let's add some breathing. We inhale, bend those knees, hips go back, arms reach forward, go as low as you want, so it's up to you, and then straighten those legs, lower those arms. Keep going. Inhale as you bend if you want to add some breathing. Exhale as you straighten, pushing those feet into the earth. So as always, you want to listen to your body. So if at any point you want to modify, you want to add something, you want to subtract something, you're totally welcome to do that. Make this work for your body. Let's do a couple more. You can always be smaller if you have anything going on with your knees or other parts of the body. All right, and then let's come to stand and stay standing. So now we're gonna find our chair so we can play with some chair squats. So go ahead and just have a seat however you comfortably would have a seat. And then I'm gonna have you stand up however you would comfortably stand up. And just notice, what did you do? So what I did was I put my hands on my thighs and used my arms to help me. Maybe you used your arm rests. So go ahead and try it again, So play around, have a seat. Notice how you do it. Do you twist? Do you shift to one side? Do you grab your arm rests? And then again, just try and do it your normal way, which is hard. Once we start thinking about it, it gets tricky. But try and stand up your normal way. What is your normal way? And then go ahead and have a seat again in your most normal fashion. So if you need to just shake it off, walk a little bit, and then sit back down to try and simulate how you would sit. So what Bertha was asking was, there's this exercise or this test that you can do where you stand up without using your arms forward for counterbalancing and without using your arms to push down. And try that, but please be safe with your body. So if you're feeling like, oh, this doesn't feel good on my body, don't do it. Feel free to use your arms, but give it a try if you can. So you're gonna cross your arms in front of your chest and then see, can you stand up without using your arms? And now, if you're having a hard time getting up without using your arms, well, let's first come back down. Maybe without using your arms, if that's safe. If it's not safe, please use your arms. If you had a hard time, notice where your legs are. So you want to adjust your feet. You want your feet to be slightly behind your knees. So it's not a 90-degree bend in your knees. Your angle is much more narrow. So your heel is slightly behind your knees. And then when you lean forward to come to stand, try not to keep your torso upright. You want to lean far forward, and then it's less work for those legs. Great. And then come back down. So what that article was probably saying was, it's a show of leg strength if you can stand up without using your arms. And that's something for you to think about, is when you get on and off the chair, if there are armrests, are you pushing your arms into the armrest to come to stand or not? Let's do a few more without the arms. Of course, again, if you need the arms, you have a couple of options. You use your arms, or maybe you put several cushions or some firm books on your chair to lift the height of the chair so that you can practice being able to stand and sit without your arms a little bit more height, right? So the lower your chair, the harder this is going to be. So often it's quite challenging on a couch because couches tend to be pretty low. So that's something else for you to play with or to notice. And then, of course, if I didn't answer your question, Bertha, you can ask at the end of class and I'll give a little more detail. All right, next time you are seated, we'll stay seated. And then scooch forward towards the front edge of the chair so you have plenty of room behind you. We're gonna do some core work, some sit-ups. So lots of space behind you. You're gonna cross your arms in front of your chest once again. We'll inhale, lean back until you just barely touch your back rest. And then exhale, using your abdominal muscles, try and sit up. So we inhale, lean back. And exhale, sit up. Keep going. Couple more times at your own pace. Next time you're sitting up, we'll stay there. Interlace your fingers around your right knee or shin and lift your right foot up. So we're pulling that knee up as high as you comfortably can. Circle your right ankle. Just finding a little movement in your ankle and circle the other way. Go ahead and gently release your right foot down and we'll switch sides. So wrapping your shins or wrapping your hands around your left knee or shin, pull your left knee up and circle your ankle. And circle the other way. Great, and then let's release the foot. And let's grab our weights. I'm gonna be standing for some arm work. If you wanna be seated with your weights, that's totally fine as well. So just listen to your body, find what works for you. And go ahead and grab your weights, either seated or standing. We're gonna go into some externally rotated bicep curls. So that means that instead of those palms just facing forward, we're gonna even try and turn those palms further out. And then we'll bend those elbows. You see how when I bend my elbows, it creates kind of a W shape on the way up and then back down. So instead of the weights being directly in front of you, kind of going slightly out to the side. So bicep curls in this rotation. If this is really uncomfortable, you can stick to our more standard weight and you're feeling like you want to make this more challenging. Imagine that you are moving through something sticky. So maybe some honey, maybe peanut butter, maybe it's water, some kind of resistance. Let's do a couple more of these.
Oh boy, that's too loud.
All right, next time we're in that bench position, we'll pause and let your palms turn to face forward. So instead of the palms now facing you or yourself, you're going to turn those palms to face slightly forward. From there, you're going to stretch the arm out to the side. So I'm going to show you, I'm not going directly out to the side, I'm going slightly forward and then bend. And then stretch the arm slightly forward. So it's diagonal. It's not straight forward, it's not straight out to the side, it's kind of halfway, and then bring it back. So straighten and bend. So this can get hard. So if you need to lower your weight, it's totally fine. And if you're lowering your weights, if you're getting rid of your weights, really imagine that you are moving through something stiff. So find some resistance. Couple more. Even yourself out right to left and pause. Now we're going to bring our arms to a cactus position or a 90-degree bend. We're going to alternate overhead presses. Now, if this is easy, you could do both arms at the same time. But if your shoulders are already feeling tired, then you want to do alternating arms. Hopefully you're feeling a little burn at this point. Couple more. And go ahead and release. Woo. Relax those arms, maybe a couple of shoulder rolls. Okay, so we're gonna go into straight-legged deadlifts. So what that means is we're going to be hinging from our hips. So the movement isn't happening in the spine, it isn't happening in the knees, it's happening at the place that our thigh bone articulates with our pelvis. So you can have your weights or not. We'll bring the weights in front of us if you have them. Press down into those feet firmly and then hinging at the hips. You're gonna just hang forward to the point where you feel like you need to bend your knees or you feel like you need to round your back to go any further. So that's where you stop and then you lift yourself back up. So this is sort of a warm up because we're gonna be doing one-legged ones today. So we'll lean forward, hinging at the hips, legs stay straight, spine stays straight. So for some of us, depending on your flexibility, you might not go very far, and that's totally fine. And then back up. We'll keep going here, several more times. So you'll probably find a nice stretch in the backs of your legs. If you're not finding a stretch in the backs of the legs, notice, are you bending your knees or rounding your back? All right, now, next time you're in that hinge forward position, you're going to pause. Bend your knees a little bit. And we're gonna do some rows. So bending those elbows, so grabbing those weights if you don't have them in your hands. So we're in that hinge forward position. Now our knees are bent. So now there's a soft bend in the knees. As you squeeze those shoulder blades together, elbows go up towards the ceiling. Back of the neck is long and relaxed. Jaw is soft, core is slightly engaged. If you need a break, take a break. Sometimes the back gets tired in this position. So notice, is your core engaged? Keep going, a couple more times. And come on up. Whew. All right, let's put those weights to the side. And now we're gonna wanna use our chair for balance support. If you don't have your chair with you, you could also use a table or the wall. But we're gonna play with doing one-legged deadlifts. So we want that support. So let's place the right hand on the chair and have our left foot on the ground. First, we're just gonna balance. So you're gonna lift your right foot off the ground and balance. So our right hand is on the chair, right foot is off the ground, left foot is down. So if this feels challenging enough, this is maybe where you're gonna decide to stay. You don't have to go any further than this. If you want more challenge, then we're gonna move that right leg back behind us and straighten the leg. So the leg goes back behind us and straighten the leg. From there, you're gonna hinge, again, from the hips. So there's no bend in the spine. There's very little bend in the knee. A little bend is fine. We hinge forward until the body says no more. And then we come back up. Let's do a few more on this side. So, or several more. We hinge at the hips. So it's that pelvis rolling over your thigh bones. That right leg goes behind you. And then back up. If you want to do something else with the right leg, that's totally fine. So if you want to bend your right knee, you could do that as well. So I just do it with the straight leg, but you could do it with a bent back leg. So we're hinging and lifting. Now, if it's super easy for you, then you don't have to hold on. You could let go of the chair and do this without holding on. But then that becomes quite a challenging balance exercise. So just make sure you're being safe. Make sure you're not gonna slip. And make sure that if you were to lose your balance, you could grab a hold of your chair. Let's do maybe 2 more. And again, if you're just standing and balancing, that's plenty of work. So you don't need to add this movement if you don't want to. All right, next time you're standing, release, shake it off. Whew. I don't know about you, but I felt that. And we'll turn and switch sides. So left hand comes to the chair, right foot is on the ground, left foot goes back. And we're first balancing. So just balancing on that right leg is plenty of work. If you want to stay here and just play with lifting your hand on and off the chair to play with your balance, totally fine. If you want to add that one-legged deadlift, we're hinging from the hips. So again, the spine doesn't move and that bottom knee tries to stay mostly straight if possible. You hinge forward until you can't go anymore and then you come back up. So it's not about the depth. Right, I'm more interested in good form. So we want the spine to stay nice and long. We want that leg to stay mostly straight. A small bend is okay. And then do whatever you want with that back leg. So that back knee can be bent or straight, whatever's comfortable. Really feeling this happening in the back of your leg. So the back of the leg is one stretching and then also engaging to lift you back up. So I love exercises like this because we find that elongation and then engagement or contraction from that nice long position. Because we want long, strong muscles, not just short, tight muscles. Again, if this is easy, you could let go of your chair and try and do this balancing. It's very challenging to do this balancing. So just know that you can always grab your chair again if you choose to do that. And be safe with your body, kind to your body. Let's do maybe 2 more. And come all the way up. Shake it off. Whew. All right, let's grab those weights again. We're going to go back into our rows. So from our standing position, we hinge forward from the hips and then bend the knees a little bit just to make it a little easier, a little more comfortable. Spine is long, core is engaged. We're rowing, so we're squeezing those shoulder blades together, elbows up to the sky, and then lower the arms down. So squeeze the shoulders and lower. Jaw is soft. Breath is smooth. Keep going. And go ahead and come all the way up to stand. Okay, moving on to a new exercise. See if you can keep holding on to your weights if that's comfortable. We're going into a kind of a plie. We're taking our feet nice and wide. So we're going to take our ankles about shoulder width or even wider. And then bend your knees. Your toes are pointing slightly out. So it's not forward toes. Toes are slightly out. So we're getting some turnout in those legs. We're trying to keep our spine nice and tall. So head is over the shoulders, shoulders over your pelvis. With our weights, we're going to go back to those bicep curls with that turned out position. So we're also going to turn those palms out and then bend and lower those arms. If your legs get tired, straighten them out, take a few breaths, and then rebend them when you feel ready. This is hard, so we're holding those legs in a single position, super challenging. So just be kind to your body. Take those breaks when you need them. Smooth out your breath. Let's go for about 7 more. And then straighten those legs, lower those arms. Ooh, take a little break. Now we're going to add an overhead press movement, but our legs are also going to move. So what we'll do is we'll start with our elbows bent. Weights are by the shoulders or hands are by the shoulders. Bend those knees as well, so back into that plie. Everything's going to straighten at the same time. So we straighten our legs and straighten the arms overhead, and then bend the knees and lower the arms. So legs straighten, arms straighten to the ceiling, knees bend, arms lower to the shoulders, or hands lower to the shoulders. Let's see if we can do 5 more. Good. And release those arms, straighten those legs, bring those feet back towards each other, shake it off. Whew. All right, let's put those weights down. And we're going to come back to doing things with the chair. So we'll come back to the right hand on the chair or on the wall if you want. Left foot forward and step the right leg back. Try and step the right foot back anywhere from 2 feet plus or minus 1 foot. So 1 foot distance, 2 feet distance. If you're really long legged, maybe 3 foot distance, right? Just be mindful of the length of your legs. Back heel lifts off ground. You might feel a stretch in the sole of that back foot. And then we're going to bend both knees into a lunge. So this is where you're going to decide whether you want to play with your stance. So we're bending both knees. Head stays over the shoulders, shoulders over the pelvis, and then we straighten both legs. All 10 toes are facing forward, knees are tracking forward. So we bend and straighten. Keep going. Now, if you're feeling really steady, you can let go of the chair, so you don't have to hold on if you're feeling steady. If you're not feeling steady, please keep holding on. Or you can also play with the width of your stance. So widening your stance, so taking those feet wider apart, not just longer, but wider apart, will make it a little bit easier, a little bit steadier. So know that that's an option as well. All right, next time your legs are bent, we're gonna hold for 5 seconds. We hold for 5. Get those knees bent. 4, 3, 2, 1. If you've let go, make sure you're grabbing a hold of your chair as you step forward. Back foot meets the front foot. Shake it off. And let's switch sides. So other hand, left hand finds the chair or your wall. Right foot comes forward, left foot steps back. Anywhere from 3 feet distance, just depends on how long your legs are. Back heel comes off the ground. We bend both of our knees, lowering the body. Head stays over the shoulders, shoulders over the pelvis, and then we straighten those legs. So we bend and straighten. Again, if you're feeling steady today, you could let go of your chair. Feel free to grab a hold again at any point. Let your breath be smooth. In and out through the nose if possible. If you're getting tired, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Next time we're in that low position, we're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Grab a hold of your chair and step forward. Back foot meets the front. Shake it off. All right, let's find those weights again. So grab those weights. We're going back to an exercise we've already done. So just repeating, just to kind of get our bodies to remember these different movements. We're going wide stance. So heels are wider than the shoulders, toes point slightly out. Let's bend those knees into that nice low plie. Bend those elbows, hands by the shoulders. If you're starting to get tired in the arms, you can alternate arms. So I'll show you the alternated version first. We straighten the legs, straighten one arm up to the ceiling. We bend the knees, lower that arm. We switch, straighten the legs, other arm to the ceiling, bend the knees, lower the arm. So you can alternate arms. Or if you're feeling like, oh, I still have lots of energy, both arms at the same time. Couple more. All right, and then let's let that go. Heel toe those feet back towards each other. Shake it off. Last set of rows. So again, our rows, we're gonna hinge forward, bend those knees a little bit, arms come down in front of us slightly. We're gonna squeeze those shoulder blades together, elbows point up to the ceiling, and then lower those arms. Squeeze and release. Right, and then releasing those weights, standing tall, putting those weights off to the side, and then standing behind your chair. So we're moving into our move of the week, so try and remember this one. We're gonna have our hands on the chair, all 10 toes face forward, so our feet are parallel if possible. We're going into heel raises. The fronts of the feet stay down as we lift our heels off of the ground. Notice where the weight is on those feet. So try and keep that weight either towards the big toe side or even big toe to the little toe, and then lower those heels. So we lift those heels and lower those heels. So heel raises. Heel raises are our move of the week. So you'll remember that for next functional fitness class. So not next week, but the week after, heel raises. Keep going. So you should feel those calf muscles starting to work. If this is easy, let go, right? You can play with this, trying to work on your balance, and that'll be a great way to increase the challenge. Of course, if balance is tricky, please hold on, right? Be kind to your body. All right, next time we're on our tippy toes, so heels lifted, we pause. Try and keep those heels up. We bend those knees and we straighten those legs. We bend the knees and straighten the legs. Is it possible for you to keep those heels the same height as you bend and straighten the legs? Pretty tricky. Just do the best you can. All right, next time your knees are bent, go ahead and pause. See if you can keep a soft bend in the knees as you lower the heels and lift the heels. So the knees try and stay bent as you lower the heels and lift the heels. That might feel nearly impossible, and that's okay. This might be the first time you've tried this. So just be kind to yourself. It's okay if it's challenging. Knees try and stay bent as you lift the heels and lower the heels. All right, next time your heels are down, go ahead and pause. Straighten your legs. We're gonna do a calf stretch. So we'll set the right foot back behind us and bend into the left knee. So the left leg is forward, right leg is back. All 10 toes face forward. We bend our front knee to get a stretch in the back of our right leg. Let's step the right foot forward and we'll switch sides. So right foot stays at the front, left foot steps back, maybe a foot or two. We bend the front knee, so we bend the right knee. Left leg stays straight. We're feeling a stretch in the back of the left leg or into the left calf region. And then stepping forward. Go back. We'll do that move of the week one more time. Heel raises. Lift those heels up and lower those heels. So keep going here. Legs stay pretty much straight the whole time. So I want to encourage you to try and get some heel raises done throughout the week or throughout the next 2 weeks, because I do functional fitness every other week. Yoga's the other days. See if when you're hanging out in the kitchen maybe and you place your hands on the counter, you could do some heel raises there. Or if you're at your table and you're about to stand up to put your dishes back into the kitchen, you could do a few heel raises. Anytime you can sneak these in, they're great for strengthening the lower half of our legs. And hopefully you're starting to feel that burn. Next time you're lifted up on those heels, let's hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower those heels. Let's place those hands on the back of the chair and walk your feet back, creating an upside down L position. So it just depends on your flexibility, how low you go. So you might be pretty high, or your torso might come parallel to the earth. If you need to bend those knees, that's totally fine. 3 deep breaths. Go ahead and walk your feet forward. Lift your torso back up. Standing nice and tall. Let's inhale, circle the arms out to the side and up towards the sky. And then exhale, palms touch, hands lower towards the chest. We're doing that 2 more times. Inhale, arms circle out and up, reaching tall. Stretch those arms, palms touch. Exhale, hands lower to the chest. Last time, deep inhale. Circle those arms. Nice long exhale. Hands lower down. And give yourself a hand. Great work, everybody. Really awesome having you here for our is yoga. Our move of the week for this week. So you want to remember it for next functional fitness class. So not next week, but the week after, or heel raises. Try and do them. Maybe next week I'll ask you when you did them. That way you can inspire some others to do some heel raises throughout their day. If you missed us at the beginning, we've been having some email difficulties sending out emails. So if that's the case and you want to chat about it, we can definitely talk. Also, if anyone wants to ask any questions about this, about anything we did today, about GoGo in general, now is your chance.
Hey, I'm not having any trouble getting my emails at yahoo.com. I don't know if it's a server issue.
Awesome. That's really helpful.
Yeah, I have to leave to get to an appointment, so I'll see you next week, okay?
Thanks, Carol. We'll see you next week. And then also, everybody, if you are, I see you, Barbara. Well, I'll have you answer the question or ask what you need in a second. You can always access these classes, even if you're not getting the emails, by looking at past events. It's the same link every week. So just know you can still access same link every week. Barbara, go ahead.
While I'm doing the exercises, I feel my knees get all crunchy. I can hear them move. I can hear them. Is that bad?
Does it hurt?
Not really, but it feels like it could start hurting. I mean, I can feel it feels like things are not lubricated or something.
So I'm going to answer this, but with a caveat that I'm not a doctor. Usually crunching noises is called crepitus. this, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just sound. It becomes a problem if it hurts. But if you have the intuition that it feels like, oh, this might hurt, what I would suggest is that you make your range of motion smaller. So you do a little bit less. And sometimes what happens is if we're not moving a joint a lot, it gets crunchier and crunchier because it's just not used to moving through those ranges of motion. So having some crunching sounds isn't necessarily bad, but you might want to play with your angle. So the way, maybe I do this, how do I show you this? We'll do this like this. So let's say bending the knees like this. So straightforward creates some crunching. Either you bend a little smaller, or maybe you go, okay, I'm going to turn my feet out a little bit. Maybe that's going to change. So the turn out, maybe that reduces the crunching sound and that feeling of discomfort. So what we want to do is move right now in a range that feels safe, comfortable, and not too crunchy. And then as those other ranges get easier, you can start to go back into that range where you're going, ooh, that was hard. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
And then the other thing you could be doing is playing with that bending and straightening of the legs or whatever joint that's feeling crunchy without any load. And by that, I mean, right now, when we're standing and we're bending our legs, we have the whole weight of our body that we are having to support. So if you're going, I want to work on my knee bend, but all of this weight is too much. You grab your chair, you lift a leg, I'll go sideways, and you bend your leg, right? Is it getting the same crunching noise? Is it getting that same feeling of, ooh, this doesn't feel quite right? So that's another way to play with it. But crunching isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Okay, great, thank you.
Anyone else have questions, comments?
Well, I've now come to one yoga class and one, whatever this is, exercise class, and I like them, so I hope I can do it every Wednesday. So thank you.
Yes, I'm Patience, and I thank you very much too. I've enjoyed them.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We're so happy to have you here.
Have a good day.
You too. You too.
Thank you
So yeah,
for
you are so welcome.
my questions.
Oh, good. So your question got answered.
Yes.
Okay, great, great. I'll leave this, we're gonna leave it open for a couple more minutes. If you are always welcome to log off.
Okay, thank you. See you next week.
Thank you.
Enjoy the. See you next
Adra,
week.
I'm wondering if you could suggest ways to carry things for joint preservation and things like that we do daily.
Yeah. So I'll give you some thoughts now, and then maybe next week I'll do even more of that. So the biggest thing for how to carry, well, first, the biggest issue is how you pick things up. So what I see a lot of when someone's about to pick something up is this rounding of the back. And then I'm gonna pick up this weight. So that can be really problematic because the joints in our spine are really small and delicate, whereas the joints of our hips are much larger. So what I would suggest if you're going to pick something up, let me put this on the floor, make it more challenging. Instead of rounding the back to pick something up, think about really bending the knees and keeping your spine long to reach for something. And then once you grab that thing, move that thing close to your body. I don't know if that's visible. Maybe I'll do it on the chair again. So let's say I'm reaching for my weight. I want to bend the knees, hips go back. Oh, I've found the thing. Slide it to your body first so that it's less heavy. When we try and pick something up far away, it's really heavy. If we slide it closer to us, then it's much easier to pick up. So I would say that's the number one thing when we pick something up. And then when we're carrying, we want to notice where our pelvis and our spine is. So what I see a lot of when we're carrying something heavy in front of us is this. So sometimes that's okay. You see this pelvis shifting forward, but what we really want is the core to engage and our spine to stay stacked up if we're carrying something in front of us. So whatever we're carrying, we want it close to our chest and we want our spine straight up and down versus thrusting forward. That thrusting forward can cause a lot of hip discomfort and a lot of low back pain. So I would say that's the other big thing when you're carrying something heavy in front of you. But what we can do next week is we can talk about different ways we pick things up and also how we just carry something over time like a bag, and how to adjust.
Thank you.
You are welcome. That's so important, thinking about how we preserve our joints over time. Because we only get one body.
Well, I had an overuse injury because when the plastic bags started to be used, I was holding them with my fingers, 3 or 4 bags in each hand, and I was injured.
Yeah, and so that would be more of a modification thing to think about is, can I get a reusable bag that goes over my shoulder? Because small joints can get injured so easily. So like the small joints of our back, of our spine, the small joints of our fingers, right? Versus the bigger joints of our shoulders. So that would be a great time to think, oh, okay, maybe I need 2 big reusable bags that I can put on my shoulders. So that you're not having to carry so much with the hands. But then also thinking about how can I work on strengthening your hands? As maybe you want to do some hand squeezes, grabbing a ball and do some squeezes. Or maybe it's just 1 bag per hand plus a bag over the shoulder if you're really trying to do it all in one trip.
I haven't managed back on my head. But in
Not
a lot of cultures, people do carry on the head.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And that just requires some neck strength, but our necks are strong. We just have to think about how you do that. So I wouldn't recommend it without some practice of a very lightweight on the head first. Anyone else have any questions? Thoughts, feelings? No? Well, hopefully email stuff gets sorted out soon. And again, if you're having a hard time, you can just reuse the same link and it should get you into class, no problem. You could also email to if there's any issues, and people will get back to you as soon as they can. All right, well, thank you everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the day. I will see you next Wednesday for yoga or the week after for functional fitness.